If you're a heat and air conditioning technician or even a salesperson, what is some aggressive body language you need to know about it? And why does this matter? This is a super important question. I'm Scott Bell, coming to you live for HVAC Technician Sales Secrets on a perfect day to talk about sales and a perfect day to talk about you. So there is multiple ways that somebody can be aggressive, and I'm just going to run through a couple of them that are pretty good signs that your deal's in trouble or you don't have a deal at all, okay? And one of the most aggressive things that somebody can do, hands down, is the Captain Morgan's pose. So you sit down with Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Mrs. Smith is at the table. Mr. Smith pulls up a chair and takes the chair and puts his leg on the chair and pretty much like stands like this, and it's straight shot for you to look and go like, I'm staring at Mr. Smith's junk. Mr. Smith's junk is just, right? It's that dude's way of saying, like, you're not going to come to my house and pee on the corner, right? That's some aggressive body language. Another form of this same thing is, let's say that you're talking to Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and Mrs. Smith sits down in a chair, and this is typically a dude. Women do it, but this is typically a dude, okay? So what happens is Mr. Smith grabs the chair, flips it around, and puts that barrier, the back of the chair, in front of you, right? This is kind of the same move where he's like, look, I'm going to show you that you're not going to do anything. You're not going to sell this deal. You're not going to close it. My house. This is my house, right? So you have to be aware that these two moves are a pretty good sign that something's wrong with your presentation. And it may not be anything necessarily that you did. It could just be that person is like, I'm not making a decision, and that's their barrier, that's their boundary. And this is why when it comes to body language, you really need to pay attention and baseline, right? You need to figure out what's going on. So here's what you can do. You got Mr. Smith, who's doing the Captain Morgan's pose. And if you don't know what that is, just look up the Captain Morgan's. The dude's got one leg planted firmly on the ground and one leg lifted up, okay? And usually when the more aggressive it is, the more that they're going to put their dingling like right in front of you somehow, okay? And I'm not talking like to your face, but they could be a couple feet away, or when they flip the chair around. And this is why you should join HVAC Tech Secrets. I give you the goods, not in the Facebook group, not in the YouTube channel. So you're like, Eric Scott, there's like two kind of two-ish forms of aggressive body language. What are some other ones? One of them could be aggressive eye contact, right? So people break eye contact normal. Now, I have a hearing problem, so I'll warn people up front when I'm doing a deal, when I'm having a conversation, when I'm meeting somebody in public. I'm like, hey, I can't hear, so I'm going to have to read your lips, right? That's a completely different story. That's something that is not the same. But aggressive eye contact is like when somebody stares like right here and they won't give it up. They just stare right there. Now, minus a hearing problem, minus some sort of function that they can't auditorily process some information, it's probably a good sign that something's going wrong on that presentation. Could be an issue. You may have caused it, you may have not, right? Another aggressive body language is, okay, so in the United States, I can point with my thumb, right? It's kind of weird, but I can do it. I can point with this finger. I can point with my ring finger. I can point with my pinky. Now, really, the ring finger and the pinky are kind of weird, but if you got somebody who's pointing at you or at a piece of paper with their middle finger, it's a sign that maybe it's a sign that things aren't going right, okay? So if you watch like American Idol, Simon Cowell touches his face and does this a lot. He does it with his middle finger. So if you didn't baseline, if you didn't pay attention, you wouldn't know that that's a normal function for him. So baselining is like, I'm going to take a look at the body language and I'm going to see what's going on. Okay, so we got the Captain Morgan's pose. We got the flip the chair around and turn that into protection. We've got the aggressive eye. We've got aggressive pointing, and then we've got pointing with the middle finger. Okay, so you have to know that when you are meeting with people, sometimes it's you in your head thinking like, what is this body language? And if I read it wrong, your job is not to react. Your job is to like look and go, okay, what can I do here? What can I do? What changes can I make? How can I work this through instead of like, I'm going to react. So I was working a deal, never met the person before. It was a business deal. You meet the guy for lunch, and it was the weirdest thing. Like, I'm pretty good size stature. I'm 6'3". Let's say, like, round up. I'm like 6'2" and 7'8", so I'm 6'3", and I'm 280 pounds. So I got like a wide frame. I can freak people out by not paying attention. And this last one I'm going to give you bonus number 5 here, standing too close to people, right? If you stand too close, it could be seen as aggressive body language. I've had people stand really close to me, especially elderly people, because they're trying to get their balance. So they'll grab your elbow. right? And you're like, why are you touching my elbow? That's kind of weird. It's because they're trying to grab their balance so they know how far from their ear that you are, okay? So be aware that, like, if you misread this, you can say, hey, this is all wrong, and I'm going to go aggressive, and they're going to go aggressive, and then I'm going to go aggressive, right? And it doesn't work for you. So there's like 5 things right there. Five different ways. Like, I hope, like, this is aggressive body language. This is bonus number 7, right? Aggressive body language. You need to know what it is. You need to know how to deal with it. Slow things down. Ask some questions instead of reacting. You got 1 or 2 things to do from here. Just 1 or 2. Yeah, you know you like that. Aggressive body language. 1 or 2 things to do from here. Just 1 or 2. Find the subscribe button. Click on it. Every time I send a video, you'll get an update. Or hit follow. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.